This project really was an embodiment of the cycle of personal ownership. We took 5 frontline employees. This team was given responsibility. They were empowered to make the change, and there was a good follow-up on the accountability. They came out with a really nice approach and a good plan to improve the customer experience.
The first thing the Touchpoint team did was to own the task given to them. They collectively identified all of the customer touch points for the PUD. The team identified that redesigning the overly complicated line extension process would bring the most value to the customer owners, and at that point they were able to move forward with a plan. The Touchpoint team absolutely nailed the first step of the cycle of personal ownership. They took responsibility for the process.
So the next step for the team was to put the plan into action, and they did that by mapping out the line extension policy completely, and then they came up with recommendations as to what should be improved. Those improvements were broken down into 3 categories: things to do now, things to do within the next 20 days, and things to do later. They simplified the process so that the customer would be able to do it in a more streamlined fashion and not have to go from one department to the other. Then they also made recommendations for improvement. They included improvements associated with the website, changes to the phone book, and then everybody is aware that we're changing the lobby and the headquarters as well. Instead of implementing all of the recommendations themselves, what they did is they identified the right people throughout the district, and they told each department specifically what needed to be done and the timing associated with it. All of this occurred because they were empowered to make it happen. And in the end, all of the recommendations that they made were basically adopted and approved. When teams and individuals empower themselves, this is exactly what can happen.
You know, accountability is really the process of evaluation. It's not looking to assign blame. It's vital that we pause and we look back and we see how it went. We celebrate success as well as the lessons learned.
Did we do the right things? Did we do the right things the right way?
We really encourage this team to be frank, be honest in their assessment, and they did that.
One of the key components of the accountability stage is to make sure that other people learn from the things that you learned, and it's passing along that knowledge to future teams that's equally important. This is where we learn, this is where we celebrate, this is where we get better.
The ladder of accountability is divided into 2 halves. At the bottom, you're making excuses and waiting and hoping that somebody else is going to solve this problem. And then you climb over into the top half of the ladder and you begin to look for solutions. What is it that I can do that will make a difference? And ultimately, at the very top, you begin to make it happen. So the really cool thing about this customer satisfaction touchpoint team was how they have taken something that is really important to us, and they found ways for us to do it better than we were doing it before. And they took it from just a thought to an idea to reality. The ladder of accountability actually applies to all 3 phases of the cycle of personal ownership. It's about the attitude that we bring to each phase. How is it that I am relating to this project right at this moment in time? What more could you ask than to be able to find a way to make this a better organization and more successful in achieving its core mission?
Using the cycle of personal ownership and the ladder of accountability increases our effectiveness as individuals and as an organization. And that makes it more likely that we will achieve our most important objective, and that is excellent customer owner satisfaction.